Have you ever watched someone on screen, glamorous, untouchable, and wondered what they're hiding behind the bright lights? When a star like Angelina Jolie steps up and suggests that the very world she helped build might be rotten at its core, you lean in. This story isn't just about fame or beauty, it's about power, secrets, and what happens when the beautiful machine of Hollywood demands more than just talent. Angelina didn't whisper this truth. She said it loud. And now we are going to unpack what she revealed, what it means, and why the industry may never look the same. When you trace Angelina's path, it's impossible to ignore the spotlight. She arrived with force, crossing genres, continents, and roles, from action hero to humanitarian, from iconic star to director. But the glitter hid a deeper unrest. From early on, she sensed that the world she was entering wasn't built simply on art. It was built on image, control, fear, and unsaid rules. She didn't just join Hollywood, she watched it, and she started to question it. In a rare moment of candor, she said she wouldn't even choose acting if she were starting her career today. It wasn't about the craft, she explained. It was about the exposure, the demand to be public, the expectation to perform off camera just as much as on. She described the place she grew up around as shallow. She called Hollywood not a healthy place. That kind of statement coming from someone inside the machine is huge. It signals a crack in the narrative we've all been sold. Suddenly, we're not just watching a star reflect, we're watching a star expose. Cosmopolitan +2 ABC 7 Los Angeles +2, the way she described it feel less like celebrity complaint and more like therapy. She admitted that her body reacted to stress in extreme ways. She said part of her pulled back because she needed to heal. She didn't feel like herself for a decade. She dressed in armor, apropos a public persona, to hide, protect, endure. That's not just exhaustion. That's an indictment of a system. Harper's Bazaar +2 Cosmopolitan +2. It's one thing to work hard for your art. It's another to fight for your soul in a place built to consume both. So what exactly did Angelina reveal about Hollywood's darkest secret? It goes beyond the usual star scandal headlines. She hinted at how power shifts, how image trumps voice, how women, especially women in the spotlight, become commodities while the men controlling the machine stay hidden. She pointed out that when a woman evokes something authentic, something messy, something human, the machine treats her as a risk. It's one thing to play a hero. It's quite another to challenge the hero's myth. She said she grew up around the industry. She knew the show, the smoke, the mirrors. And having lived it, she wasn't impressed. She spoke about the legal battles, the public collapse of her personal life, the dissolution of what many thought was a fairy tale marriage. And she did so without self-pity. She treated the pain like data. She said they had to heal. She said the things that needed healing weren't just personal, they were structural. When she talked about non-disclosure agreements, about the deals the system makes to protect image at all costs, she wasn't just talking about her life, she was talking about the institution. At times we are talking about contracts that protect power, silence stories, and make undoing damage almost impossible. That's a secret Hollywood doesn't love telling. There's a moment she shared about rejecting several hundred auditions early in her career. She said she was told she looked too dark or too ethnic. Think about that. In an industry that sells fantasy, she was already being filtered out for not fitting the mold, even though she later became one of its most visible faces. That experience planted a seed. The fantasy is tailor-made, and if you don't fit it, you get pushed aside or reshaped. The news when someone like Angelina says, "I looked wrong for this," and still becomes the face of Hollywood glamour, you realize the system is deeply inconsistent and deeply controlling. Another layer of her revelation is this. When you finally have power, the system doesn't stop. It changes shape. According to her, Hollywood didn't reward her for reality. It rewarded her for performance. The difference is enormous. She said that when things got real, pain, trauma, change, the machine didn't know how to sell it. So it pretended it didn't exist. That's Hollywood's secret. It's happiest when the pain stays off camera, when the struggle is invisible, when the conflict is contained. When a star like Angelina says the place wrote her truth, you hear an alarm bell. And what does that mean for the people watching? For you, for me, for anyone who has ever looked at a Hollywood red carpet and thought, this is it. Maybe we were seeing the wrong thing. Maybe glamour is the curtain hiding deeper conflict. Maybe the film set isn't just a place of art. It's a battleground for control. She said the business wasn't easy, that you shouldn't give everything because the industry will take it, twist it, and sell it. People.com. Here's the most uncomfortable truth she pointed toward. The men behind the cameras, the execs, the image makers, the stylists, the PR machines, they hold a different card than the actors on screen. She danced with power. She felt its breath. She lived its reward and its cost. And now she's telling us. The cost was both real and invisible. Her statements weren't just personal, they were structural. That's what makes a secret truly dark, when it's built into the very architecture. The ripple effects of her exposure are significant, because if someone is embedded as she starts naming the problem, then the problem becomes the story. Hollywood has always claimed to be about dreams. Now we see it might also be about deals, about control, about who gets to tell the story and who gets silenced. When Angelina said she wouldn't pick this profession now, she wasn't whining, she was warning. The warning is for the next wave. It's for the rising artists who'll step in. It's for any of us who still believe the glamour is benign. There's also a letting go in her voice. She's not begging to return to the pinnacle. She's not trying to reclaim an image. She's stepping forward into authenticity. That itself is revolutionary in Hollywood. When the machine wants you to be perfect and you choose to be real, the glare is blinding. Her exposure forces a question. What do you value when you look at a star? The performance? The person? The pipeline? Critically, this isn't just another celebrity meltdown. This is a star, one of the biggest, turning around and holding up the mirror to the whole business. When she said the industry is not a healthy place, it wasn't phrased casually. It was an assessment from a survivor. And when a survivor says the big monster isn't the tabloid, it's the system, then you start rewinding what you thought was entertainment. So what's next? For Angelina, the next chapter isn't about dominating box offices. It's about building spaces where she controls the story. Projects where the term actor feels less like commodity and more like creator. She's shifting to roles behind the camera, to activism, to a life built around truth rather than facade. For Hollywood, her statement is a shot across the bow. Will the system listen? Or will it double down on the same shell of glamour while ignoring the foundation? For viewers, it means the choice is ours. To keep watching the show as advertised, or to question what's happening behind the scenes. As the final frame of this story, consider this. You might never look at a red carpet the same way again. Because behind the glitter, sometimes the darkest secret isn't one scandal, it's the accepted silence. When someone like Angelina says, I experienced that silence, it's no longer just her story. It becomes ours. If you've reached the end, thanks for staying with it. If this story made you rethink what you believed about Hollywood, drop a comment below. What surprised you most about what she revealed? Do you think the industry can change? And if you're new here, subscribe because we're diving into the stories behind the stars, the light, the shadow, and everything in between. Until next time.